start embarrassing your
This nigga wanna say something about my mama. Your mama dead as fuck, nigga. Your mama dead as fuck. Go.
Y'all been keeping up with this 50 Cent versus T.I. drama? If not, let me fill you guys in. So this whole thing started over a potential versus battle, 50 versus T.I. And at first 50 was down to do it, but allegedly he backed out and started acting a little funny about the whole situation.
Welcome back to BuzzBuster. I'm glad you're here. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss daily videos. That's T.I. right there on camera, grabbing his own son in a headlock during an NFL game. And the moment blasted across the internet in seconds. The clip hit social media like lightning, and people could not stop replaying it. But that wild scene was only the start, because behind the curtain, things were getting even messier.
Yeah, I originally said the versus battle was supposed to be about celebrating catalogs, but now he questions 50's character and said he straight up doesn't respect.
T.I. ended up sparking a feud with 50 Cent that turned deeply personal, and the way it played out had the whole hip-hop world staring in shock. The drama sent waves through the culture. The rap scene started heating up fast, and nobody expected things to explode the way they did.
When things went left, 50 hopped on social media and posted a really bad photo of Tiny, T.I.'s wife. A lot of people were saying the picture looks edited, but either way, folks were like, what does Tiny have to do?
What began as a simple call-out between two heavyweight legends quickly twisted into one of the most disrespectful clashes the culture has seen in a long time. Suddenly, families were getting mentioned, wives pulled into the mess, and sons caught in the middle of the tension. Group chats everywhere would lighten up with people arguing about it, breaking down every line and every post. At that point, it did not even feel like normal rap competition anymore. It felt like a full battle unfolding in front of everyone. Then, just when people thought T.I. and 50 Cent were ready to keep this feud going forever.
From there, King Harris, T.I.'s son, entered the chat and said, stop playing with his mama. He basically took to Instagram defending his mom and telling 50 Cent to stop playing with her, and he even mentioned 50 Cent's dead mom and said to dig her up.
Everything flipped. Out of nowhere, T.I. made a move nobody expected. He reached out and apologized. That shocked a lot of people, but getting to that moment was not smooth at all, because the road there was filled with deleted posts, harsh diss records, tense family drama, and moments that had even longtime rap insiders shaking their heads. And if someone thought the situation with 50 Cent was the wildest part, not even close. Things kept spiraling. Stay locked in, because the story only gets crazier from here. The next part centers around T.I.'s son, King Harris, and a heated moment that the internet keeps replaying again and again. That clip spread so fast it felt like everyone online pressed replay at the same time.
After that, 50 responded the way 50 does, by trolling. He posted memes, reposted videos, and now T.I. hopped in the booth.
To really see how deep all of this goes, the story actually stretches back to the early 2000s. That was the era when both Tip and 50 were dominating the rap game from different sides of the country. T.I. was putting Atlanta on his back, proudly representing Bankhead every step of the way, while 50 Cent came straight out of Queens, standing tall for South Jamaica. Both had serious street credibility and built their reputations the hard way. For a long time, there seemed to be real respect between them, running into each other at award shows, festivals, and major industry events, with no public tension, no sideways comments, and no drama. But under that calm surface, something was definitely brewing. The vibe between them felt tense, like a pressure cooker slowly building heat, just waiting for the moment it pops. That is what happens when two powerful figures share the same space, both convinced they lead the room and neither interested in standing in second place. In hip-hop, status is not only about hit records, it's about influence, about who moves the culture, who keeps their name buzzing, and who really has the streets rocking with them. That quiet question about who ranked above who kept hanging in the air like a storm cloud ready to break. Nobody said it out loud, but everyone could feel it. The tension was sitting there, just waiting for the right spark to set everything off. Then the Versus era rolled in.
T.I. dropped a diss track aimed directly at 50 Cent, and in the song, he says something along the lines that 50 Cent isn't as tough as his son.
When fans everywhere were hungry to see legendary artists face off, that's when T.I. stepped forward and dropped a serious claim. He said that during a promo run in Los Angeles, he and 50 Cent actually had a private handshake agreement. According to Tip, the idea was simple. T.I. would publicly challenge him, 50 would accept the battle, and fans would finally get the showdown people had been begging for. The matchup sounded massive. Two huge catalogs packed with classic songs going track for track, hit for hit, line for line in front of the world. It had all the ingredients to become one of those unforgettable hip-hop moments that locks your name into history forever. But when the time arrived to make it real, Tip says the line went completely quiet. No answer, no confirmation, nothing but silence. In the rap world, that kind of silence can feel loud, especially when you expected someone to step up beside you, solid and ready for the challenge. For T.I., that moment felt bigger than disappointment. By early 2026, it looked like he had finally reached the point where he had to speak on it. He pulled up on the show Nightcap with Shannon Sharp and Ocho Cinco, and what he said was not a subtle hint, it was a direct call-out. You could hear the frustration that had been stacking up over the years in his voice. This wasn't about attention or internet buzz. To him, it felt personal. For months, the internet had been full of rumors, speculation, and mysterious posts flying across blogs and timelines. But T.I. didn't stay quiet about it. On that national platform, he openly said that Curtis 50 Cent Jackson was avoiding the matchup and letting respect slip, and 50 Cent responded quickly. Almost immediately, he jumped on Instagram and started firing back. He posted old footage from T.I.'s legal moments and dropped a sarcastic meme designed like a fake public service message, saying, "Forget verses, let's do the stay away challenge and keep our distance." Then he added a big LOL at the end, classic 50 style, turning the situation into a joke before any diss track touched the air. But T.I. was not amused at all. Then 50 pushed things even further. On Instagram, he labeled Tip King Rat, bringing up those old snitching accusations connected to T.I.'s 2007 federal firearms case. That post did more than stir conversation.
So what was supposed to be just a versus rap battle ended up getting extremely personal, and the internet has a lot to say about it.
It dragged one of the most sensitive moments of Tip's career right back into the spotlight in front of millions of watching fans. In hip-hop, getting labeled a rat is one of the worst accusations you can face. That kind of tag sticks to your name like glue, and people bring it up forever, no matter how many hit records or platinum plaques you stack up. But Tip was not about to sit back quietly and accept that label. Not even close. He fired right back, saying the real truth would show who was actually talking crazy. Tip even claimed he had paperwork that told a completely different story. Then he raised the stakes even higher. T.I. challenged 50 straight up, telling him to step forward and face the situation or stay silent and move out of the way. The internet instantly went wild watching the two icons trade shots across social media. Comment sections exploded, blogs posted updates every hour, and fans kept refreshing their timelines waiting for the next move. But deep down, everyone knew the real damage was not going to happen in Instagram captions. The real battle was going to land on wax. And when that moment came, Tip made sure people heard him loud and clear. On February 22nd, he appeared on $1 million worth of Game and opened the floodgates. He started breaking down everything: the private conversations, the early talks about the battle, and how the whole situation unfolded behind the scenes. According to Tip, he and 50 had already talked it out before anything went public. The idea was that Tip would challenge him first and 50 would accept so the fans could finally witness the showdown. But Tip said once the challenge actually hit the public stage, the energy suddenly changed. According to him, it was like the agreement disappeared overnight. He described it like the entire plan got brushed aside, and that moment clearly stayed stuck in his mind. Fans watching the interview could feel the tension in his voice. At that point, this was way bigger than casual rap competition. Pride, respect, and years of reputation were all tangled up in the situation, and neither side looked ready to step back.
This camp might have won the battle, but they ain't win.
To Tip, the situation crossed a line about character, and he was not finished speaking on it either. The very next day, February 23rd, he jumped back into the spotlight and teased fans with a diss snippet called War. The preview alone had people talking everywhere. Then, only hours later, he dropped the full track titled The Right One, And that is when everything really detonated. Those bars came crashing through the internet like a wrecking ball. The lyrics were sharp, direct, and clearly aimed straight at 50 Cent's image. Tip questioned the persona that helped turn Curtis Jackson into a global rap icon. In the song, he portrayed 50 as someone more focused on social media jokes than stepping up in a real lyrical clash. But the track also stepped into extremely sensitive territory. One line in particular referenced 50 Cent's late mother, and that moment immediately shook the hip-hop community. Mentioning family like that is something many artists avoid completely, and the reaction online was instant. Timelines split into two sides overnight. Some fans applauded Tip for standing toe-to-toe with one of rap's sharpest competitors. Others felt the line crossed a boundary that should have stayed untouched. Suddenly, the situation didn't feel like just another rap diss anymore. It felt heavier, more personal, and way more intense than people expected. If Tip's diss track felt like an earthquake shaking the rap world, what 50 Cent did next landed like the aftershock that pushed everything into chaos. Out of nowhere, 50 jumped on Instagram and posted a harsh, unflattering photo of T.I.'s wife, Tiny.
50 Cent is cooking up next. Just a few hours ago, 50 Cent went on a post and delete on his Instagram where he went out to post a picture of Tiny and T.I. and captioned it by saying, "Remember how quiet I got before the Diddy doc?"
Right under the picture, he dropped a caption telling Tip to keep my name out your mouth. That single post instantly lit another fire online. The reaction was immediate. In seconds, the entire situation flipped. An argument that started between two rap legends suddenly pulled an innocent woman into the spotlight, and people across the culture started debating it. For many fans, bringing family into the middle of a rap feud crosses a line that usually stays untouched. From that moment, the tension stopped feeling like normal music rivalry. Everything became personal. And that was the exact moment King Harris, the son of T.I. and Tiny, stepped forward and spoke up with serious emotion. Most people didn't expect what happened next. King went live on Instagram, clearly fired up and speaking straight from the heart. His voice carried real frustration as he addressed everything unfolding online. At one point, he said, "Y'all was raised different. I'm not raised like that." The message hit hard because there was no filter behind it. It sounded raw, emotional, and completely real. For King, the issue had crossed a boundary. Bringing his mother into the situation was something he clearly felt could not slide. In his eyes, it wasn't just rap talk or internet trolling anymore. It was personal, and he wanted people to understand that. The entire energy of the situation shifted right there. What started as bars and diss records had now spilled over into family territory, with the whole internet watching it unfold in real time.
Then things took another shocking turn. In the middle of the heated moment, King responded with a statement that made timelines freeze. He told 50 to tell your mama to dig her up and post a picture that looks better than mama. The internet reacted instantly. People across social media were stunned by how intense the exchange had become. It was raw emotion pouring out in real time. The moment showed just how far the conflict had escalated. At that point, the situation did not feel like music promotion or competitive lyrics anymore. It felt like real-life frustration spilling into the public eye. And King did not walk his words back. Instead, he continued speaking with strong emotion, making it clear that his reaction was not about attention or going viral.
That nigga wanna say something about my mama. Your mama dead as fuck, nigga. Your mama dead as fuck. Go.
To him, this was about defending his mother. Every word sounded like it came from genuine hurt and loyalty. It was not polished, rehearsed, or planned for a studio track. It was simply a son standing up for the woman who raised him, no matter how loud the internet got. And of course, 50 Cent responded the way people have come to expect from him, with memes. Instead of dropping a long speech, he jumped online and posted an image comparing King Harris to the internet character Pepe the Frog. Then he threw shade at the entire family with a caption mocking their looks. It was sharp, it was ruthless, and it had that classic 50 Cent energy, turning a tense moment into viral internet content almost instantly. That post set social media on fire. Comment sections exploded, screenshots spread everywhere, and people across the internet rushed to share their opinions. The situation grew so big that even Tina Knowles, Beyoncé's mother, publicly stepped in to defend Tiny. When someone from outside the rap world joins the conversation, you know the drama has reached another level. At that point, the story had expanded far beyond hip-hop circles. Celebrities, blogs, and major entertainment pages were all watching the situation unfold. What started as a disagreement between two rap icons had suddenly grown into a major cultural conversation. Everywhere online, people kept refreshing their timelines, waiting for the next development. The tension felt heavy across social media. Nobody knew if the next post would be another joke, a diss track, or something even bigger. The energy around the situation started shifting from entertainment to real curiosity about where things might go next. Then came a surprising twist. By February 24, 2026, 50 Cent suddenly switched directions completely. The memes slowed down, and he stepped into full business mode. While T.I. was still in the studio releasing diss records and addressing the drama, 50 took the conversation somewhere totally different. He went online and proudly announced that the Broadway production of Joe Turner's and Come and Gone had sold out. Right next to the news, he added a shocked face emoji and a caption that sounded like a slick jab.
50 Cent is responding to T.I. with a documentary is actually hilarious. Now he goes ahead to remind everybody that his silence speaks loudness. Letting everybody know, man, that last time he went quiet, things got sticky.
The message basically said, while you're in the booth recording songs nobody asked for, I'm out here selling out shows you can't even get tickets to. That post instantly changed the tone of the whole feud. Suddenly, it was not just about lyrics or street credibility anymore. 50 was reminding everyone that his influence stretches far beyond rap music. From television to film to theater productions, he has built a massive business empire. Just like that, the clash felt different. The argument was no longer only about who could deliver the sharpest diss track. Now it looked more like a battle of legacies and impact. And that move worked like a quiet but powerful flex. No long rant, no aggressive bars, just a reminder of success. In a single post, 50 shifted the spotlight and reframed the whole situation. The conversation moved from pure rap competition to a bigger question altogether. Who still holds the strongest influence in 2026? And that is exactly the kind of question T.I. probably did not want the whole internet debating out loud. But King Harris was not slowing down at all. He jumped right back online defending his father again. This time, pointing toward 50 Cent's long list of public feuds. King started naming names, reminding people about the clashes 50 has had over the years, from Lil Kim to Kanye West, from Ja Rule to Floyd Mayweather. His point was clear. Conflict has followed 50 throughout much of his career. King framed it like 50 thrives on stirring things up. According to him, the pattern looked like someone who enjoys throwing sparks into situations and watching the reaction unfold. In his eyes, the drama was less about principle and more about entertainment for the internet. Then, February 25th, 2026 arrived.
Post a picture of your motherfucking mama, nigga. She dead, nigga. Pay respect, nigga.
The moment that turned the entire situation into one of the most talked about twists in recent hip-hop drama. There was no warning at all, no caption, no explanation, nothing. Out of nowhere, people noticed that 50 Cent had wiped every single T.I. related post off his Instagram. Just like that, the memes disappeared, the jokes vanished, and the trolling posts were gone like they had never been there.
The internet instantly went into detective mode. Fans started analyzing every possible reason behind the move. Was 50 stepping back from the situation? Was he preparing something bigger behind the scenes? Did advisors step in and tell him to clear the page? Or was something happening privately that the public did not know about? Because realistically, 50 Cent is not known for backing away from drama. His reputation has been built on standing firm during conflict. Over the years, he has publicly traded shots with artists, athletes, and entire music crews while joking through the chaos. That fearless reputation is a huge part of his image. So seeing him suddenly erase posts connected to a feud he had been fueling only hours earlier caught everyone completely off guard. And that moment is where the story takes another turn. This was the turning point that brought the entire situation to a different place, because according to reports from people close to both sides, T.I. decided to make a move that almost nobody predicted. After days of diss tracks, viral memes, and non-stop back and forth online, Tip reportedly reached out directly to 50 Cent's camp. This time, it was not through social media posts, interviews, or indirect messages through industry connections. The contact was much more direct. One conversation, phone to phone. And according to those familiar with the call, the tone was completely different from the public energy everyone had been watching. The man who had been talking about war and smoke online reportedly sounded calm and serious during that conversation. There was no loud internet moment around it.
Was in common. I hope this doesn't mess up your promo tour. They're gonna ask about your 20 S8 cases. You might want to talk to a crisis PR person. He then commented on his own post down below and commented by saying, "Fire new music today."
Just a private exchange. Something had clearly shifted in the atmosphere. The same person who seemed ready to keep the feud blazing across the internet was now approaching the situation in a quieter, more thoughtful way. And that unexpected step from Tip ended up changing the direction of the entire story. The fire and rage that had been lighting up the internet suddenly cooled down. In its place came something nobody expected to hear in the middle of a heated rap feud. Humility. The word floating around industry circles started spreading fast, and it shocked a lot of people. Apology. But this was not some dramatic surrender with someone begging for forgiveness. Not at all. The way insiders described it, this felt more like a calculated move from someone stepping back and looking at the bigger picture. According to people familiar with the situation, T.I. reportedly admitted the whole feud had gone too far. The back and forth had crossed lines that should never have been touched. Bringing mothers, whether living or passed away, into a conflict between two hip-hop legends with decades of history behind them was a step that made the situation darker than it needed to be. Tip reportedly recognized that the moment things reached that level, the conflict stopped being about music and started becoming something else entirely. That kind of reflection surprised many observers. In a culture where pride and ego often dominate the conversation, publicly stepping back from a fight can be one of the boldest choices a person makes. For some fans, that shift did not look like weakness, it looked like awareness. Throughout the chaos, T.I. had already made it clear how he felt about the situation. At one point, he openly said he had lost respect for 50 Cent and had no interest in sharing a stage with him. But there's a big difference between losing respect for someone's actions and pushing a feud so far that it begins damaging everything around it. And Tip has dealt with pressure before. His career has included serious legal battles, time away from the spotlight, and multiple comebacks that rebuilt his reputation.
You getting new music from 50 Cent, or what is the play here?
Those experiences shaped the way he approaches conflict. Compared to those real-life challenges, an online feud might start looking less important when it begins affecting the people closest to you. Because the situation was not only about two rappers anymore. The drama had pulled King Harris deeper into the spotlight and dragged Tiny into the center of public attention as well. For someone who has often spoken about protecting his family, that shift likely changed how the entire situation felt. At some point, the calculation looked different. Protecting pride in a public feud can feel powerful for a moment, but protecting peace at home can matter much more. When someone has spent years trying to build stability for the people around them, letting ego tear that down suddenly stops making sense. The timing of everything also raised eyebrows. Around the same moment insiders say that private conversation happened, 50 Cent quietly erased every post connected to the feud. The timing lined up almost perfectly. Think about it for a second. If someone you've been arguing with online suddenly reaches out privately to cool things down, the smartest move might be clearing the digital battlefield. Removing the memes, the insults, and the screenshots could simply be a way to reset the situation and leave room for whatever happens next, whether that's peace,
business, or just a break from the noise. And one detail really stood out to fans watching closely. Since February 25th, both sides went completely quiet about the conflict. No new jokes, no hidden insults, no subtle comments. For two people who had been posting constantly during the feud, that silence felt incredibly loud.
Still, not everyone is convinced the story is that simple. Some skeptics online started floating another theory altogether. They believe the entire saga might actually be part of a much bigger strategy, possibly building buzz around T.I.'s long-awaited project, Kill the King. From the very first Versus challenge to the fiery diss tracks and then that unexpected apology, some fans started asking a big question. Was all of this actually part of a bigger strategy? Could the entire situation have been planned from the start? Some people believe Tip might have pulled off one of the smartest publicity plays hip-hop has seen in years. Others completely disagree and say the tension looked far too real. Real emotions, real frustration, and maybe even a genuine moment of reflection between two veterans who have carried their cities on their backs for decades. No matter which side people believe, one thing feels clear. Something serious happened between these two behind the scenes. Whether it was a private conversation.
Years ago, T.I. on his Instagram page went on to post a reel about himself where he captioned it by saying this: "Digging the vibes up top, yo. They showing mad love in New York, son. Oh, they rocking with the Billboard too, B. #1 on radio and in the streets and online. Hashtag let them know."
Mutual understanding or simply stepping away from the chaos, both sides suddenly went quiet. And sometimes that silence says more than any diss record ever could. Fans online noticed the timing immediately. The moment T.I. began talking about his final album, a sudden clash with 50 Cent appeared out of nowhere. To some observers, the whole situation almost felt like it came straight from an industry playbook. The build-up, the tension, the viral moment, everything lined up in a way that made people wonder if it was all part of a larger rollout. And honestly, that theory is not impossible. The music business has a long history of dramatic rivalries boosting attention around projects. Headlines, heated debates, and trending topics often bring massive attention to artists right before release. Whether the drama is completely real or partly amplified, it can quickly turn into powerful promotion. T.I. has been in the industry long enough to understand exactly how that system works. Every headline, every trending clip, and every argument online can turn into free publicity when an album is on the horizon. Even the chaos itself becomes part of the conversation. So maybe the timing really was a little too perfect, but whether that apology came from genuine reflection or a carefully planned strategy, the moment still carried weight. In the end, the feud sparked conversations across the entire culture, and people are still debating what really happened behind the curtain. Because something you almost never see in hip-hop is a person who appears to be winning the public battle, choosing to step back instead of pushing the situation even further. That kind of decision is rare in a culture where pride and competition usually take center stage. By February 20th, the Black Wall Street Times had already reported just how personal the tension between T.I. and 50 Cent had become. And history has shown many times that when conflicts in hip-hop reach deeply personal territory, things can spiral quickly. Moments that start with music and words sometimes grow into situations nobody ever expected. That is why some fans looked at Tip's decision to reach out privately as a powerful move. Choosing conversation instead of continuing the fight can take a different kind of strength. In a world where people expect artists to keep throwing shots back and forth, stepping away from the chaos can feel like the boldest move of all. Because honestly, calming a conflict often takes more courage than escalating one. But here's the twist in the story. That whole 50 Cent saga wasn't the only time T.I. found himself in a tense situation that suddenly captured the internet's attention. Long before the Versus talk, the diss tracks, and the deleted posts, there was another viral moment that showed a completely different side of his life. And this situation had nothing to do with rival rappers or music industry politics. It touched something much more personal: the complicated relationship between a father and his son.
What happened during the Atlanta Falcons game on November 26, 2023 is still being discussed online today, not because it was meant to be shocking, but because it showed a very real and emotional side of family life. The moment highlighted the tension many families experience, a father trying to guide his son, while a young man tries to prove he is ready to stand on his own. That night originally looked like a simple family outing. The Falcons were playing the Saints, and it was just another Sunday in Atlanta.
Man, I don't know what type of #1 track is T.I. talking about, man. Like, what? Now, a lot of people in the comments are saying that 50 Cent is the real 5-0, and that he's going to cook up against T.I. is nasty work.
Earlier that day, T.I. had even shared posts online showing love to his children and getting excited about the game. The atmosphere seemed relaxed, fun, and full of family energy. But within a few hours, that calm moment suddenly shifted. Inside Mercedes-Benz Stadium, cameras captured a moment between T.I. and his son King Harris that quickly spread across social media. What people saw sparked conversations everywhere about parenting, respect, and the pressures that come with growing up in the public eye. At first glance, everything appeared perfect. The well-known family was relaxing at a luxury suite, watching the Falcons like hometown celebrities enjoying the night.
But behind those smiles, tension had started building. And before long, the entire internet would witness the moment unfold in real time. What began as a regular game night soon turned into one of the most talked about father-son moments involving a hip-hop family. It showed just how thin the line can be between love, frustration, and responsibility when a parent is trying to guide their child while millions of people are watching. Then suddenly, everything changed. King Harris tapped the Go Live button on Instagram, and within seconds, the entire mood flipped upside down. What viewers expected to be a normal family moment instantly turned into something tense, loud, and emotional. The disagreement escalated quickly, and people watching online realized they were witnessing a very real argument between a father and his son. The camera captured a moment that normally would have stayed private. But once the live stream started, the situation was unfolding in front of thousands of viewers in real time. King made the choice to broadcast that moment, and once the stream was active, there was no editing, no pause button, and no chance to rewind the emotions playing out. T.I. was not only raising his voice, he was trying to make a point. The conversation reflected a deeper gap between generations. On one side was a man who built his career through years of struggle and hard lessons. On the other side was a young man growing up in a completely different environment, surrounded by opportunities created by that success. During the heated exchange, T.I. challenged King with a question meant to make him think about life experiences and perspective. He asked whether King had truly faced the kinds of struggles that shaped his own path growing up. That now widely discussed roach question became one of the most quoted moments from the live stream. The question was not random. It reflected T.I.'s attempt to remind his son that hardship is something people live through, not something to claim casually online. T.I. spoke about the difference between visiting difficult environments and actually growing up in them. For him, the neighborhoods he came from were not stories or images for social media. They were real places filled with challenges that shaped who he became. His message seemed directed not only at King, but also at a broader audience. Many people online interpreted his words as a warning about chasing an image of toughness for attention, instead of understanding the realities behind it. From T.I.'s perspective, real struggle cannot be borrowed or performed. The life he came from involved serious risks and sacrifices, and he wanted his son to recognize that difference. As the conversation continued, the emotion in the room became impossible to ignore. What people were watching was not simply a viral moment. It was a complicated family discussion happening under the spotlight of the internet. Millions of viewers saw a father trying to pass down hard-earned lessons while his son reacted in the middle of that intense moment. The scene captured the difficult balance between guidance, independence, pride, and family love. For King Harris, who often tried to build his own identity separate from his father's legacy, hearing those words publicly likely added another layer of pressure. Growing up in the shadow of a famous parent can make the search for independence even more complicated.
Keeps on the low. but everybody knows.
There it is. 50 is clapping back at T.I. You know what? He's clapping back at the whole Harris family.
That live stream ended up becoming one of the most talked about moments involving the Harris family. It showed how quickly a personal disagreement can turn into a global conversation when cameras are involved. What started as a family outing turned into a powerful example of the tension that can appear between generations. A father trying to teach hard lessons and a son determined to prove he can stand on his own. And in that moment, with thousands of people watching live, the clash between pride, identity, and family expectations played out right in front of the world. That clip spread across the internet like a shockwave. Within minutes, social media timelines were packed with reposts, reactions, and debates from every direction. Everyone seemed to have something to say about it. Some viewers said it looked like a normal father and son disagreement that just happened to get caught on camera, while others believed it revealed deeper tension inside a family that had always appeared united online. No matter what opinion people had, one thing was obvious. This moment felt real. It was not a staged interview or a polished public appearance. It was a raw situation unfolding in front of thousands of viewers, and that authenticity struck a nerve with people across the culture. The image of King in that headlock turned into viral meme material. Social media users began sharing screenshots and jokes everywhere. But behind the humor and trending hashtags, many viewers also noticed the emotion on both of their faces. It looked like a father trying to be heard and a son trying to explain himself, both reacting in a very intense moment.
At its core, the situation was not about music careers, money, or fame. It was about pride, communication, and family dynamics playing out in public. Almost instantly, the Harris family became one of the most talked about names in hip-hop conversations online. The story grew even bigger because of what happened afterward. King Harris returned to social media and spoke openly about how he felt. He made it clear that he wanted people to understand his side of the situation. In his posts and live streams, he explained that he felt ready to be treated with more independence and respect. His tone carried a mix of emotion and determination. It sounded like someone who felt misunderstood, but still wanted his voice to be heard. At the same time, T.I. addressed the situation in a calmer way during public appearances. At first, he tried to lighten the conversation by describing it as normal family business, but many viewers could still sense how serious the situation had been. After all, this was not criticism coming from strangers online. It was a conflict involving his own son, someone who grew up surrounded by the opportunities created through his father's hard work. And the internet did not move on quickly. The clip kept circulating for days. Talk shows discussed it, podcasts analyzed every detail, and blogs shared endless opinions. Some people argued that T.I.'s reaction crossed a line during the heated moment. Others believed King should have shown more respect toward his father. Soon, the discussion expanded far beyond hip-hop circles. People from all backgrounds began weighing in, turning the viral clip into a much larger debate about parenting styles, respect between generations, and what tough love looks like in modern families. And what made the moment stand out compared to other celebrity family headlines was just how genuine it seemed. It did not feel like entertainment or publicity.
Your daddy made your mama eat every box in Atlanta, so he's not even talking directly to Tip. He's talking to one of Tip's sons, who is dissed, right? He's talking to Tip's family about Tip, but not just Tip. He's bringing Tiny into the situation yet again.
It looked like a real family navigating a difficult moment while the entire world watched. There were no polished PR statements, no carefully scripted apologies, and no reality show editing to soften the moment. What people saw was simply the raw tension between a father and a son playing out in public. The situation revolved around love, legacy, and respect, emotions that can get complicated inside any family. It was messy, emotional, and very human. That is exactly why the moment grabbed so much attention online. Behind the designer outfits and celebrity status, viewers suddenly saw something familiar: the struggle between a parent trying to guide and a young adult trying to prove independence. There was no media polish covering it up, just uncomfortable, honest emotion.
And that honesty made the moment powerful for many people watching, because underneath the fame and headlines, what unfolded looked like something families everywhere understand. A difficult conversation between generations. It was real life in its most unfiltered form. Imperfect, emotional, and impossible to ignore. Then, a twist arrived that nobody expected. Just a few days after the viral argument, T.I. and King were seen together again. This time, the mood looked completely different. They appeared side by side, smiling in a photo that quickly started circulating online. There was no long caption explaining things, no press statement, no public breakdown of what happened behind the scenes. Just a simple picture. And once that image appeared, the internet lit up again. Fans immediately started debating what it meant. Some people saw it as a clear sign that things had calmed down between them. Others wondered if the moment was simply an attempt to quiet the conversation online. And some believed it showed something deeper, a father and son choosing to reconnect after a very public disagreement. Whatever the full story was, that single photo said a lot without using words. It reminded people that family relationships can be complicated but still strong. Even after arguments, tension, and public attention, families often find ways to move forward together. And maybe that is why so many people stayed invested in the story. Because in a world full of perfectly edited celebrity moments, this situation felt real, emotional, and deeply human. They showed something powerful in that moment. Even strong families can feel pressure when pride and love collide. And sometimes the toughest battles people face aren't in public arenas or recording studios. They happen inside the home. What unfolded inside that Falcon's luxury suite grew into more than just a viral video. It became a moment people pointed to when talking about what family conflict looks like in the social media era. Because behind every live stream and trending clip, there are real emotions involved. Messy, complicated, and very human.
And 50 also shared this post suggesting that maybe there's a darker story here. Maybe there's something I need to expose like I did with my Diddy documentary. I'm sure 50 is well aware of the allegations against Tip and against Tiny from a few years ago when 12 women came forward claiming that they were drugged, that they were SA'd by the Harris family. Now, I will say that those allegations were dismissed. It was deemed that it was past the statute of limitations, so nothing could be done about it. But 50 being 50, he's going to take this information.
Today, private disagreements can become global conversations with just one tap on a phone. That night was a perfect example. The world watched as King Harris stood firm during the argument, refusing to simply stay silent. He spoke his mind in the moment rather than holding his feelings back, like many people might expect from someone growing up in a famous family.
From the intensity of the exchange, many viewers felt this was not the first time father and son had disagreed about these issues. The moment seemed to carry deeper layers that had likely been building over time. Because for King, questions about identity have followed him for years. Ever since people learned his name, the comparisons to his father have been constant. Some critics online often bring up the idea that he grew up with advantages created by his family's success. Labels like silver spoon or nepo baby appear frequently in online conversations about celebrity families. For a young person trying to define who they are, those kinds of comments can become heavy to carry. And when conversations about identity come from someone whose opinion matters deeply, like a parent, the emotions can feel even stronger. That tension seemed to show in King's voice during the live stream. Many viewers noticed the mixture of frustration, anger, and vulnerability all appearing at once. His sentences sometimes overlapped or repeated as he tried to express how he felt in the middle of the moment. It looked like someone trying to be understood rather than trying to win an argument. At the same time, King clearly understands the history behind his father's reputation. T.I.'s life story includes serious challenges, legal battles, and years spent rebuilding his career while becoming one of hip-hop's most recognizable voices. But King is also in the process of discovering who he wants to become. Like many young adults, he appears determined to build his own identity and prove he can stand on his own achievements rather than simply being known as T.I.'s son. That is not an easy path when the public spotlight is always watching.
So when that live stream captured a moment where his father questioned whether he truly understood the struggles that shaped him, the emotions in the room clearly intensified. For King, hearing those words publicly likely added another layer of pressure. The weight of expectations, comparisons, and public attention suddenly collided in front of thousands of viewers. And in that instant, what people were watching was more than a viral clip. It was a young man and his father confronting a complicated question about identity, legacy, and what it really means to earn your own place in the world. The stuttering, the overlapping sentences, the shaky tone in King's voice, many viewers recognized that as raw emotion. It sounded like someone trying to express deep frustration while emotions were moving faster than the words could keep up. Moments like that often happen when pride, pressure, and pain all collide at once. Because when someone you deeply respect challenges how you see yourself, the reaction can feel intense, especially when that conversation is happening between a father and a son, where approval and identity are often closely connected. And in this case, it all unfolded in front of thousands of people, watching from their phones, their timelines, and their living rooms. What might normally be a private family conversation suddenly became a viral snapshot of generational pressure, expectations, and complicated love. That moment made many viewers realize the situation was about more than a simple argument. It looked like a clash of perspectives, a father shaped by struggle and experience, and a son trying to define his own identity while growing up in the spotlight. During the exchange, one line quickly stood out and spread everywhere online. King said the phrase, "I stand on business." Those 4 words instantly became the most quoted moment from the entire live stream. For many viewers, the statement sounded like King declaring that he wanted to be taken seriously. It carried pride, frustration, and a desire to show he was not simply living under his father's reputation. Moments like that are part of a familiar turning point for many young adults. Eventually, there comes a time when a son tries to establish independence and say, in one way or another, "I'm my own person." For most families, those conversations happen privately. But in this case, it unfolded live while the entire internet watched in real time. As the argument grew more heated, the situation escalated quickly. Within seconds, the physical tension increased, and T.I. reacted by grabbing King and pulling him into a brief headlock during the confrontation. That short moment, captured on camera, soon spread across social media everywhere. To many viewers, the reaction looked like a father responding instinctively during an emotional situation that was rapidly getting out of control. In that instant, the public image of a rapper and celebrity disappeared. What people saw instead was a parent dealing with a difficult moment with his child.
The clip lasted only a few seconds, but it quickly became one of the most replayed viral moments connected to the Harris family. It generated millions of views and sparked countless discussions online. People analyzed every detail, the expressions, the body language, and the emotions visible in that brief moment. Some viewers focused on the tension and frustration in T.I.'s face, while others talked about the emotional weight of the entire situation. From many perspectives, it looked like a father trying to stop a heated argument from spiraling even further. In a moment filled with stress and emotion, the reaction seemed driven by instinct, an attempt to bring the situation under control before things escalated even more. That short clip captured something complex, a family conflict unfolding under the pressure of public attention. And for many viewers, it became a powerful reminder that behind celebrity headlines are real families navigating difficult conversations just like anyone else. But the optics of that moment were intense. A Grammy-winning rapper, someone who has faced legal battles, industry pressure, and public controversies over the years, was suddenly caught on camera in a heated moment with his own son inside a luxury suite at an NFL game. Fans nearby had their phones out, recording from different angles, and within minutes, the footage was spreading across the internet. That single clip quickly changed how the story was being discussed. What started as a family disagreement suddenly became a viral headline. Commentators began analyzing the situation, fans debated it online, and social media turned the moment into endless reposts, memes, and reaction videos. In the middle of that chaos, Tiny stepped in to separate them. She moved between father and son, helping calm the situation before it escalated further.
Control, and he's going to ask the questions, is there smoke without fire? And after T.I. and his family used the angle trying to imply that 50 had his own house burned down with his baby mama in it, with his son in it, well, this is quid pro quo for 50. Things are definitely getting darker in this diss war. We'll see where we go from.
Many viewers who watched the clip closely could see the emotion on her face, a mixture of concern and urgency as she tried to bring the moment under control. That image, captured in screenshots and short videos, became one of the most widely shared moments from the incident. For many viewers, it reflected something bigger than a celebrity headline. It showed how even well-known families can experience complicated emotional moments when pride, love, and expectations collide in public. For a brief moment after the confrontation, the energy in the suite appeared to shift. The loud argument quieted, and people nearby seemed to pause as everyone processed what had just happened. But the story did not stop there. A short time later, King returned to social media and posted messages on his Instagram stories. The tone of the posts reflected a mix of strong emotion and determination as he shared his thoughts about the situation. In the messages, he expressed frustration and hinted at feeling misunderstood within his own circle. For many people reading those posts, the emotion behind them stood out. It sounded like someone releasing built-up feelings that had been growing for a long time. That reaction suggested the moment at the game might have been connected to deeper tensions that have been building over the years. Growing up in a famous family often comes with intense expectations, constant public attention, and pressure to define your own identity. For King, that night appeared to become a turning point where those emotions surfaced all at once. The situation reflected a complicated mixture of frustration, independence, and the challenge of finding his own path under the spotlight. Meanwhile, people across the internet continued reacting with a mix of sympathy, surprise, and curiosity. The viral clips sparked conversations everywhere, from hip-hop forums to mainstream media, about family dynamics, parenting, and growing up in public view. Those Instagram story posts did not stay visible for long. King removed them not long after sharing them. But by that point, screenshots had already begun circulating widely online. Within hours, the posts had been archived and reposted across blogs, entertainment pages, and hip-hop accounts. As often happens on the internet, once the images were captured and shared, the story spread rapidly, turning a short-lived social media moment into another chapter of a viral conversation that people everywhere were following closely. When T.I. finally addressed the situation, his tone was calm, controlled, and confident. Classic Tip energy. He made his position clear right away. He told people to stay out of it and reminded everyone that what happened between him and his son was family business, not something meant for the internet to dissect. No amount of speculation, comments, or viral clips was going to change that message. But even with that response, the conversation online did not slow down. Comment sections kept exploding, podcasts started breaking down every detail, and older stories connected to the family began resurfacing. One report people brought back into the discussion dated all the way to 2022, involving an alleged tense moment between T.I. and King at a Waffle House.
For some observers, that earlier story added another layer to the discussion. People began wondering if the tension seen at the Falcons game was part of a pattern that had been building over time. Moments of pride, frustration, and strong personalities occasionally clashing between a father and a son who clearly care about each other, but sometimes struggle to see eye to eye. At the center of the situation was a powerful dynamic. On one side stood King's determination to prove he can stand independently and build his own identity. On the other side stood T.I.'s instinct to guide, protect, and maintain authority as a father who has experienced life in very different circumstances.
Those two forces can create a complicated balance. It becomes a mix of generations, expectations, pride, and patience, all colliding at once. Even after the viral moment at the stadium, King continued showing confidence in his own identity. He remained vocal about wanting to be recognized for who he is, not simply for his family name. To many viewers, that determination reflected a young man trying to define himself while growing up under intense public attention. That kind of energy, refusing to shrink under criticism or public pressure, showed exactly where King's mindset appeared to be. He seemed focused on proving that he could build authenticity on his own terms. The entire situation was messy, emotional, and highly public, but it also revealed something deeply human. What people were witnessing was not a perfect celebrity family falling apart. It was a real family navigating conflict while millions of people watched and shared opinions. And through all the headlines and viral clips, one theme stood out. The story was about much more than fame or reputation. It was about a son trying to be understood and a father trying to guide someone he loves while protecting the legacy he worked so hard to build. If you stayed with this story all the way through, make sure to hit that subscribe button right now. More deep dives, shocking moments, and untold stories are coming soon, and you will not want to miss what's next.